Take your position. The show is about to start.
Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome to On Screen, where we discuss all things cinema all the time. Here's your hosts.
the award goes to
Joe Brunett, Joe Cuffney, and Jesse Reichenstein. Lights, camera, action.
All right. So this episode, we are talking about The Bubble, the new Judd Apatow movie, which I have never heard of. Netflix, right? It was only on Netflix.
Netflix. I think I watched the wrong movie.
You watched Bubble Boy.
It was a Netflix produced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And I didn't read anything about this or watch a trailer. I was like, it's Judd Apatow. It's got to be somewhat good. So I will just go into it not really knowing anything. And I'm very happy I did because it was great.
Yeah, I hadn't heard it was coming out until I don't know, like a week ago when he was like they were all doing press for it, for like, and I was like, oh, he's got a new movie coming out. And then I looked it up. April 1st coming out, so
could potentially been an April Fool's joke.
That's true.
Could have been.
It's true.
But
I feel like this was like peak Jesse though.
Yeah, all of Apatow's stuff is. I mean, I am just the biggest fan of. Like, I went into this thing, like I watched the trailer and stuff, and I was like, all right, well, at least if this is going to be bad, I'm still going to like it, kind of deal. But I actually think it was really good. I think it's a theme, but I was pleasantly even surprised.
I got major.
The movie that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got major Christopher Guest vibes on this movie. Like I thought, what was the one not Best in Show, but the movie one? I don't remember that.
Pardon the interruption or something.
For your consideration.
For your consideration.
It just, the humor was so dry. It was very Christopher Guest, the humor. It wasn't like a typical Judd Apatow film, I feel like, which I like Judd Apatow, but I feel like I really liked this because I really do like Christopher Guest, and it was a good blend of like that.
Oh, interesting. I thought this was super Judd Apatow.
Okay.
Like,
I guess I don't know enough, maybe.
You know what the movie this reminded me of is This Is the End. For some reason.
I could see that a little bit.
Like just like with all that, like it was very meta, and it was like just a lot of
like
comedian actors kind of all in
making
one
fun
place.
of Hollywood, kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of.
There were so many good random scenes in this that I thought was like, they were just hilarious. Like, I think I had a couple different favorite characters, and I really want to hear what you guys think, but some of them were the receptionist and the guy with the mustache. Like
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. It was so funny. It was like when he was like asking her if she wanted to have sex or something, she's like, no, but I will drop a contract. We will become lovers and all this other stuff. And it's like,
You know who that is, right? That actress?
no, who is that?
She was on the new Borat film.
I
Oh,
haven't
really?
seen
Is that her?
one.
Did you watch Borat too? Yeah, she is. I think she's like 22. And like, I mean, you come on the stage with Borat, and she like. That's like the top performance. Like if you can do a Borat thing, like, you talk about Sacha Baron Cohen and like the ability to hold a character like that when your like life is in danger for multiple scenes. So she like blew it away with Borat, and I was so happy to see her pop up in this.
Wait, what happened? What do you mean life threatening?
Okay,
I've
you
never
didn't watch
seen
the
it.
new Borat, right?
I haven't even
It
seen the
take-
original Borat.
What, dude? Ratatouille and Borat?
Hey, I've seen Ratatouille now.
Yeah. I mean, this second one especially, there were scenes that like people had guns and like, and Borat is all shot like
Like a doc.
he is Borat in public.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
he's in
right.
character.
It's
so
almost
people
like-
don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like those, like a prank video or something, but it's a movie, right?
Yeah, and he goes and it's like he's at a Trump rally, and he is like going on stage, and like people start realizing like that it's kind of a prank, and he's like been living with these Trump supporters. Like in character. He's been living with them in character.
Oh my god.
And like because he's like Borat in disguise. I'll get off this tangent. We can get back to the bubble. But like there's a scene where literally they like his security guard, a guy drew a gun and his security guard grabbed the guy and was like, you don't want to do this. And they like Borat, they had an ambulance there as like a secret getaway. Like, and they have security, like obviously throughout the whole show, but like he was wearing a bulletproof vest under his costume.
Whoa.
And like he like jumped into this ambulance and people were trying to like open the doors and they like drove out. Like, I mean, like seriously, like it is like some pretty intense stuff that he does to shoot those movies.
Okay, a few things. Well, this will be quick, but wouldn't people recognize? I mean, I don't never seen the movies, but I would recognize Borat, like that character.
Well, but in the second one, Borat disguises himself as a Trump. Like, so it's Borat in disguise.
So what was the camera crew then? Why were they like? Did anyone ask about?
They were well, yeah, but they had some, like how they do with like this is actually we're shooting a story on X, Y, or Z or something. So like that's why we're here. And like
that's crazy.
And to be granted, like to also say, I don't think she was ever in those scenes. Like I think he's very protective of like making sure her life, like he's talked about it before of like because the big one was with Giuliani and she was in a room alone with him. And he talked about like there was big talks on things of like making sure that she was never really like left alone. Or like, there was like just a lot of plans in place for that. So like, not to say, I mean, but it's an extreme, right? Like, she is off. She like came from nowhere and then just like
that's cool.
Popped on the stage, just like doing this level of comedy that's like crazy, and it's kind of like improv too. You're like a character, but you're working with real people, so it's not even like you're reading lines.
Right. It's almost harder, I feel like.
Yeah. So, anyways,
but she was great in this movie.
She was amazing in Borat too, and I was like, oh, she's gonna be like a star. Like she's so good. And this is the first time I've like seen her pop up in something, and I was so happy to see her pop up.
I loved it when he went up. What was it? He went up to, she went up to his room or something, and then she's like, "You wanted sex, but you will get love," or something like that.
Yeah.
I just love like it's so like that's why it's just Christopher Guest. It just doesn't make any. It doesn't matter. Like that doesn't even matter to the story, and I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is very that like just character based, like weird.
Yeah, I really dug this movie though. I was a big fan. I was laughing out loud quite a bit. Another one of my favorite actors was the what was it? He was like the guy who took the swabs. This kind of tall, lanky, skinny guy.
Yeah, who is like, what if
he
you
had COVID
friends with them?
Yeah,
that you won't.
I had COVID 3 times, so.
It was fine, and then I was in a coma for 6 months, and then I lost my sense of taste.
Oh my god!
It was so good. I will say too, like when it started, I actually had the feeling of like I thought it was going to be one of those like not great movies, but I was like, I'll still like enjoy it, and it'll be clear like obviously this is a movie that feels like it would be so fun to shoot. Like to be on these sets, and I'm sure that's why all these huge names do these like Apatow movies.
Right.
But I thought at the beginning from a few of the characters, I was like, oh, this is going to get bad. But it actually like, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like COVID. Like, I don't like COVID movies, but this one didn't bother me for some reason.
Oh, cool. I was going to actually ask, because as I was watching this, I was like, this is hilarious. Because it's not like COVID takes place, but it's like, as in the whole movie's about it, but it's like kind of like jokingly about the industry during the time. It's not like a serious movie, and like COVID's the threat.
It was almost absurdist, but like with enough reality that you're like,
real. Yeah,
right.
Those TikToks, crazy.
I was just gonna ask you about
so good, crazy.
I want to know if you hate the text message bubbles in movies. Did you like the TikToks in movies?
Me?
Yeah.
I gotta say no. I love the idea. Like I love one of my favorite scenes was the dinosaur scene. I thought that was so freaking funny when she was dancing with the dinosaur and they all started doing that. I was like, that's funny. I just don't want to see a vertical screen in a movie. I don't know.
I just thought it was very random how it kind of broke into that, and I was like,
yeah.
And it was
I get why they did it.
It was long.
It was cool. Like I get why they did it, and
impressive though. That's the interesting thing I thought was interesting though was that the Iris Apatow, you know, who's the TikTok star. I thought how it would normally play out is like the TikTok star is actually a horrible actor and they're only there because they're a TikTok star. But arguably, she was like better than the real actors. You know, like I thought that was going to be the story, that these actors were really good and then she was going to be like really bad and everyone was going to constantly be like, why is she here? You know, like she can't act. But not where they took it at all. But those TikTok were full-on productions that everyone, the choreography of like all of them were in.
Yeah, I thought that was Maud too. I didn't realize it was Iris.
I was gonna say I heard it was coming out, so I watched the preview. I was watching the preview and I thought it was Maud.
Looks like
and
it.
then it at the end of the trailer, you know, it's like Keegan Michael Key, you know, it's like flashing the names and it's like Iris Apatow. And I was like, hey, what? Like, she crushed it though.
She was so good.
Yeah.
There were so
I also love Keegan Michael Key.
He was, dude, he's good in everything. I've come to like,
I was gonna say
I've always liked him, but like I feel like he's been popping up kind of recently, and I'm like, wait, I actually really like him. Like I want to go back and watch Key and Peele because I
love Key and Peele.
It's so good.
I'm trying to think of like they all were really good.
Everyone was great in this movie. Yeah, I love the workers at the hotel. I think were like my favorite group because they were just
Bola or like when he's like, you need a masseuse, you need a like this. Me. I love at the end when they're like all talking for different reasons, being like, we have to keep having them shoot the movie for as long as possible.
I loved when I can't remember, I think it was someone was Karen Gilliam. Yeah, I think her name was Carol, the main girl. She was video chatting with her mom. And then her mom, that was so funny. Anyone cute there? Are you nervous to see dinosaurs?
No, that was Iris. That was
right.
It was like the TikTok, and she's like, "You're on set." Is what it was like supposed to be Timothy Chalamet like esque, but it was like, what was the name they used? Like is Timothy
Oliphant? No, he's an actor. Timothy Oliphant.
Oh, really?
He's an actor. Yeah.
I just thought it was like a play on words for like it's supposed to be Timothy Chalamet. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
You'll know him if you look him up. You'll recognize him immediately.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Timothy Oliphant.
And then Howie's what was it?
Yes.
Yeah, you know him. He's like been in a lot of like random stuff.
Also, I will say the subtitles on his name, I believe, were real far off. I feel like it was like Olifent.
Oh, really? You read subtitles on?
Always have subtitles on.
Really?
Always.
Interesting.
Subtitles on everything, unless it's stand-up comedy.
Crazy.
That is
then
crazy.
It's off. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I was thinking of
this wasn't in English.
What was it? The main who's married to Judd Apatow? What's her name?
Leslie Mann.
Her character when their son Rafi,
the adopted 16-year-old that they just adopted.
Say goodbye to Carol. Who's Carol? Was that kid? Or...
Oh no, that's Carol's like her boyfriend who has 2 kids.
Oh,
who like at the beginning, she's talking to him. She's like, "We're gonna be gone," and his daughter's like, "Bye, mommy." Why? And she's like, "I'm not your mom." And then at the end, it's like, "Say bye to Carol." Who's Carol?
Oh, dude, it's so funny. Yeah, these characters were great. I could not get enough of them.
It's so good.
I do love how like real it was with like Hollywood, because like the scene where Howie left, like he stormed off or whatever, and who said what? Someone said, "If you leave, you'll be blackballed. This is a very judgmental business. If you leave, you'll be blackballed." I was like, that is actually probably very accurate.
I
think that's funny.
I do love everything, but I love that scene where Leslie Mann is setting the computer on fire.
Yeah,
so I thought you were gonna say it with the kid, and she's like, "Look, I'm setting Daddy's computer on fire."
And then do you think we picked the right kid?
I'm still here.
Yes. Oh, that was bad. Fred Armisen was great. I love his character because I feel like they usually make directors kind of like the asshole essentially, and I feel like they made him like not until the very
Like, he
end.
had no
Obviously.
clue what he was doing.
But he was just like a nice guy. He's like, oh, great job. Like, you think this movie's gonna be great? I can't wait.
I love at the end when they're trying to get him to, he's in the helicopter, and they're like, he's just hovering because he's like, I don't know. They didn't teach me how to go forward. So they're just hovering. And Fred Armisen comes out and he has the gun. And he's like, I'm just going to point it at them so they think I'm like doing it. And I thought it was so funny. It was so subtle though, that like, he was like, I'm just going to point it at him, like pretend. And then before it cuts to a helicopter view, it just shows him and he's just he's not even saying words. He's just going,
yeah.
And they're like, is he down there? He's got a gun pointed at us.
So good.
And then the random John Cena cameo was hilarious.
That was pretty good too. He's
so funny.
I think that's part of what I love about these though, is like every 10 seconds there's like a new random little cameo.
Right. And
There's a new cameo. Everyone's really bad at like what they do, like that stunt director.
Yeah.
Like it's horrible. And then like the girl's like, I didn't tell you my dad's really bad at this. Like it's
so good. I also love that they're like accent or they're like acting for the movie in the movie. It's like bad. Like Leslie's character's like a southern accent and everything. It's like it just doesn't work at all.
I love the scene too where they're climbing when they start getting sick and like she's spinning in the air and they're like not cutting, and then they're like, I'm done. And they just like let go and they're just like hanging in the air and they're still just like,
and the dinosaurs are just like floating there, just like talking to each other.
They're like, we should stop. And they're like, we're so close.
Yeah. I was like kind of curious about this because I didn't know anything about it. And I was like, that's such an interesting thing, but I don't know if you guys read this or not, but it was inspired by the new Jurassic World movie. Because during the filming, they all stayed in a hotel.
Oh.
And it was during the pandemic. So they basically made this movie because of Jurassic Park. So I wonder like if there's any behind the scenes. Yeah, it makes sense because they, I thought that was kind of fun. It is a really cool premise.
I was actually thinking about that with like the Velociraptor looking dinosaur that did the TikTok dance.
That was good.
It was the sentence I never thought I'd say in my life.
Right.
But it did make me think of Jurassic World or Jurassic Park or whatever. Because I was like, that looks like the exact same Velociraptor.
Yeah. Like a little lower budget, but
yeah.
Don't worry.
It was funny.
Yeah. It is a cool premise though, because I feel like with COVID stuff, like what else can you do? And this is like this is another way to show it, I feel like, because it hasn't been done before. So I thought that was fun.
Right. Yeah. When Judd was promoting it, he was saying like, just sitting there at the beginning and he's like, there's like actually people like on the front lines fighting this. And he was like, all of us in Hollywood were like, we got to get back to making movies for the people. And he was like, looking back, did we need to? Like, what were we doing? He was like, it was absurd.
I mean, this did make me really glad quarantine is over. I forgot how awful quarantine was.
I do love, actually, I didn't think I'd like the first time it happened, but it's becoming, I think, very Apatow-esque, is like the really intense like pop music that they like fit in, that's like very loud and upbeat and out of nowhere, like for transitions kind of, that I actually was like really into.
There was a cover that was really good.
It kept it really like upbeat, and you're like, oh, whoa, anytime it started to like be like a scene started dropping, it's like that transition was like, oh hell yeah, whatever this music is.
Right. No, one of them was it was the Miley Cyrus cover. Heart of Glass.
That's it.
And I was like, that's pretty cool.
I do love that's where they get back to do like the performance outside to like help them. That was all
Beck?
out. Wasn't it?
I don't know. I was wondering who that was. I don't know.
I think it was Beck. And yeah, it was 100% Beck. It has to be. Beck the musician, not like Beck Bennett.
Okay. Okay.
I was like, if you're thinking of a Beck Bennett, no, the musician
like,
Beck. and they're singing, and then they slowly get up and start dancing.
Yeah.
Like, and now it's just like awkward, but like it's one of those it's like
It's relatable.
that to me felt like one of those things that just felt like funny because it was real, and it made me think of in happy people.
Funny people.
That's that funny people. I was like, it's not happy people. Where remember when we watched that and we were talking about when they fight, the fight scene at the end is just like really real.
Yeah.
It's like not like what a movie fight scene would be. It's like they're really just like rolling on the ground, and it's just like real. And like when they were dancing outside and like really weird. And then like I just was like, oh, this is one of those scenes that's like a little long, but it's also kind of funny because it's like never how a movie would portray something.
Yeah, I think that's
But
the great thing about Judd Apatow is like I feel like he does comedy in a realistic way, but it's like actually realistic where people can relate to it. Or it's like some comedies, it's like I don't know. I feel like it's in this, at least this movie, like I just felt I was like I know exactly how those people were feeling when quarantined in their rooms. Like it was very spot on, and like I literally paid for a bunch of like during the quarantine, like I paid for like live concerts to stream, and there were a lot of people, that was definitely a thing. So I can definitely relate to that.
It was not a good time for extroverts, which I would say most actors probably are.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do love like too Kate McKinnon's character, and I just love that whole
Yeah.
line too when he like is like we can't do it, and Kate's like you
Yep.
got to do it, and he's like we can't, and she's like I hear you, thank you for making it happen. And then she calls her boss, and
Yep.
is like we can't do it, and he's like you got to do it.
Are you in
And then
Fiji?
he calls
I
his
am too.
boss. Yeah,
Let's get some wine.
it's like you want to
Please,
play
let's hang out.
tennis. Yeah,
And he's like, but you might be out of the job. So it's funny you say that because like I did really like Kate McKinnon's character, and I mean she's amazing. Like she's one of the funniest like comedians right now. But I always feel like translating her to film never works for me. Like whenever she's in a movie, it doesn't work for me. Like there are some like TV comedians who are really funny. Like Adam Devine's great on screen, like on movie screen as well as TV. And I feel like it's kind of hard to do that, but I feel like there are certain people like Keenan's really good in film, and but like this movie, I actually liked Kate in this movie. I think it was because it was like an SNL character, literally. So I think that's why. Like if she tries to play a serious kind of role, I'm like, no, doesn't work. But I love that their name said like studio head, studio CEO. Like they just said that in the corner. I'm like, it was so random. But
she's playing Carol Baskins in a Tiger King movie.
I knew that, and I got that vibe from this character for some reason. I was like, because it's maybe the Zoom call, like the recording. Like I don't know, something with that.
I like haven't seen. I just knew she was like out when SNL the season started up. She was gone for the first whatever number of episodes because she was in Australia shooting that. And I haven't seen anything from it, but I'm like, oh, she's gonna nail that.
Oh, for sure.
If there's ever a role she could nail, Carol Baskins, it's gonna be
100%.
amazing.
Totally.
Can we talk about the like hotel that they stayed at? Like, do we know where that is?
Oh, so I got it here actually. United Kingdom at Shepperton Studios in Shepperton, in the Shepperton Hedzer House, which is in Taplow.
Hedzer.
Thank you.
It's London. It's pronounced London.
London. Lancaster. That was good.
Oh god.
But yeah, it's funny. Like, yeah, the mansion was super cool. I thought it was. I mean, a lot of it was probably studio, and it's funny because I feel like movies about movies, you have a location already, but like you're not. I don't know. It's so meta. I mean, talk about Scream being meta. This is also very meta. I love it though. I actually do. I do like movies about movies. I know.
I was gonna say you've talked about actually liking movies about making movies,
because I feel like a lot of the times, a lot of people I know, they don't like to watch movies in their field. You know, like my dad doesn't like to watch police movies, and like I know some people who don't like to watch certain things that they're in. But I love watching movies about movies. I think it's fascinating.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
We rate it.
Yeah, let's do it. Wait, I want to one little trivia. Well, not trivia. I just saw this, but I was searching it in Google, and the first movie that pops up when you search for this, like, you know how it says related movies or something, Bowfinger is the #1 movie that pops up next to this one.
Wait, when you said it was reminding you of something and you said Christopher Guest, I actually thought you were going to say it reminded you of Bowfinger
Both.
because
was a
of
mix.
making a movie too.
It was a mix. Yeah. I honestly like,
Yeah.
I think this was this was like right up my alley, like a perfect mix of like Christopher Guest, because sometimes Christopher Guest can go, it's almost too much for me, but this is a
Very
really
fringe,
good, yeah. But this is a great balance of like that and like, yeah. So I was digging it.
Also, okay, wait, one more that just popped in my head that we have to talk about is when the guy at the end, when they're like doing the TikTok and he like dies.
Oh yeah.
Spoiler, not really. That whole sequence of them trying to save him
Yeah.
is so good. It's so I love like I can't even remember the first thing you do, but then they get on and they're like, it's a heart attack. You have to attack it back. And he's punching the guy in the chest. And just like how dumb everything they tried to do was, you know, and then like, we got to get him in ice, you know, and they put him in like,
they put him in a
like, no, we got to get him out. And they're just like dragging him around until they stick like an entire huge thing of adrenaline in his heart, straight into his heart.
Well, I love that, like the hotel worker, the same guy who, you know, did the test and stuff, who had COVID. He's like, no, he's gonna die. No, he's gonna die. And
he's like, what time is it? Time of death. And they're like, we're calling it. And he's like,
he's still breathing. No, he's gonna die.
What did he say? Like, that happened. He's like, it happened. This does it too. It's him saying goodbye. It's him.
He's amazing. Oh, it's so funny. I actually laughed a lot in this movie, so I think that was really fun. I feel like I needed this movie. Like,
it would just get into I'm trying to think. In my notes, I'm like, I wrote heart attack, slapping it, attacking it back. I also wrote flips out to get help.
Flips out to get help.
Does that sound familiar?
I mean, I'm thinking of how he flips out and he storms off set to get out of the movie.
No, I feel like it maybe was tied to
like the
heart attack, whatever maybe happened right when he had the heart attack of someone flipping out.
I love that they couldn't leave though. That was so funny to me. Like, they just couldn't leave. Like, her hand got blown off. Like,
she lost a couple digits. It happens.
I thought they were a delivery person or something. I don't know. I thought that was funny.
I'm like already realizing now. I didn't think of it right after, but I'm like, I'm gonna have to watch this again.
I would. Let's get into ratings then. I mean, I think, if you want to go first, unless there's anything else you want to talk about before we rate it.
No, I think that's it. I kind of how about pitching this randomly? How about whoever's movie it was goes last? Just because
I like that.
It's the
I like to switch it up a little bit. I like that. Yeah, I like that. I'll go first then. This
15
one
out of 10. I know it. Next, Joe Cuffney, what do you think?
How about Jesse? You pick our ratings.
I'm gonna do it.
You give it like a 9.5, and you're like, no, you guys give it 10 though.
You guys really liked it.
I actually really like this movie. I was pleasantly surprised. I had the same feeling with you, Jesse, where it started and I was like, oh, this will probably be like funny, like, but it won't be like. For me, it's harder to I don't know. Comedies it's a lot harder for me to like and really enjoy a comedy just because it's not like my typical favorite genre. But I do when they're funny, man. I really love it. Like, I will show everyone it. But I was very happy with this. This was fun. This broke my mold of not liking COVID movies, so that was fun as well. I mean, it didn't get too dry at any moment, so that was perfect because that can happen. I'm gonna bump it up because this always happens.
It always does.
I'm gonna go 8. I'm gonna go 8 Cliff Beasts movies. Because I
Beast
also
8.
love the name. It's a great name of a movie franchise.
So you docked it 2 whole points just for the TikTok, just for the vertical screen.
I don't know why. It's just not a 10. It's just not a 10 for me. I think
there were 2 points just for that one thing. I get it.
That definitely at least a half. But I think I don't know. I think I don't know. Again, I want to rewatch it. I think if you like comedy movies, if you like Judd Apatow, you're probably gonna like this movie. So
Cool.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna actually pretty much have the same rating. Like this isn't a 10 for me; it's an 8, and I'm going with 8 of the like dangling and spinning. Like that's just so funny. But like I think this is a fun movie. I enjoyed it. The only thing I would knock it for is like for me, like all of the funny, really funny parts were like a little spread out, like and a little and not very like they didn't flow as well as I would have liked, but I did like all the like laughs. So like for that, like very enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say this is like the like primo plot movie that I'm looking for, but it was a good watch. So I'm not going to knock it there. So I'm going with 8 dangly guys.
Love it. I think
dangly guys.
I honestly think it's like one of the better COVID movies, like about COVID. It's if not like the best one, like because there's so many movies about COVID where it's like a thriller or whatever, but this is like making a joke out of it kind of, but also based in reality, like getting tested and stuff and like quarantining. So I thought that was fun.
Right.
Cool. I did forget to tell you guys that this one we are rating it out of 8. So you both gave it perfect scores. So we're coming.
Why you wanted to go last?
Yeah, so we're coming in strong for this final rating.
It would be our only perfect movie. We haven't had a perfect movie yet.
And I give it a 7. Yeah, I really liked this. I knew I would, but like I was even pleasantly surprised.
I knew the parts I like when I was watching this, I knew where parts you were gonna laugh at. Like I just was like, Jesse's probably gonna like dig this part.
That's my favorite actually, whenever we watch movies and you guys pick out scenes that you're like, was this not your favorite part? Like when we I Want You Back just recently watched, and you were like, the kid singing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, yes, that was like one of my favorite parts.
I could just know.
It's so good. Everyone was so good in it. I mean, everyone was like, I don't even know if there was one person who I was like, oh, like I wish they weren't in this.
My only, if I had to pick, I don't know, like the Howie's character was like, I could have done without him.
Well, is this his character though, or like the actor doing a bad job with the character? Whoa.
I think he did I think he did good, but like I just didn't like the character, so I don't think it would have like, even though he did good, I did not like the character. So,
but that's what I mean. Like I mean, again, you gave it a perfect score, dude. So kind of weird, but all right. But like everyone did, and he left early, so it's fine.
See, they knew they knew. The filmmakers
they got him out of there for you. But they're great as always. Apatow kills it, and also the best thing is that like Judd, Leslie Mann, Iris, like the Apatow family is in this movies, and they're all so good. I just want to be adopted by them.
Mary, Maud, or Iris.
That, or they could like they adopted a 16-year-old kid. I'm just saying, I'm keeping all my options open. However, to be into the family, I'm open to it.
All right. Well, if you're out there, Apatows,
But I mean, Iris and Maud though, I think are really like this one. I think it's because it's the first time I've seen Iris in a movie, like as
like an actual
actress, not as like a kid in a Apatow movie. Like she's played the kids before. But I was like, oh, I mean, arguably, like obviously Maud's on Euphoria already and stuff, but like I think they're gonna be huge actors. Like especially comedy wise, like they're gonna be huge.
I don't watch Euphoria or anything, but like I've seen scenes of Maud and stuff, and like literally she sounds just like her. It's insane.
Yeah,
like their voices are identical, which is funny because Leslie Bibb is literally the opposite of both of them. Or sorry, not Leslie Bibb, Leslie Mann.
Yeah, they're gonna be like Leslie Mann's though. Like they're gonna be killer actresses who can do comedy. So we're rating it out of 8. I'm not gonna go 9.5 for this.
Woo, let's go.
This was just like a good.
Where did the 0.5 come from?
I gave it an extra 1.5. So
extra.
Why not a full 2
points?
Oh, dude. I don't know. It's just that hesitation of like giving anything a 10, pretty much. I don't know really why, but like this was super fun. I think I would actually watch it again pretty close. Like it was really funny. So I could watch it by myself or in a group.
Yeah.
And I like already, it's funny realizing now that I'm like, oh, I actually do want to watch it again, like even sooner than I think. It's not like I could watch again. Like I actually want to, because as we're talking and I'm like looking at those notes I wrote and I'm like, I don't even remember. Like that was a funny scene that I went to write a note down and I don't even remember it because there's so much stuff.
Exactly.
So it's so just like funny, but like in such a like, you don't have to actively, you're watching it, but it's like, you don't
need to pay attention. That's why I love it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's why I like sitcoms.
I love everything about it.
Sitcoms is because like I would say, I mean, there are some storylines with sitcoms, but like you could just throw it on. You don't have to worry. You don't have to like pay attention super deeply.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I will say that too. I think why I really like is some movies when they're, when like a movie's good, but it kind of just feels like other movies. Yeah. Like that was really good, but it felt like just any other movie. But like this thing was very like distinct to me, like Apatow, like with like the transitions and the like. It's like more and more like realizing like Adam McKay, as I watch more of his stuff, he has a very distinct style. And like now I'm realizing that like, I'm like, there's so things that made this Apatow like that, especially like the music and the traditions and how they shoot some things and like the comedy. It also was so good, but it didn't feel like it. Like I can't compare this.
Right.
I mean, those like Bowfinger and Christopher Guest, yes, but like more on like a feeling than like, not like you'd ever watch this and be like, oh, this just felt like another one of those. I mean, it's also probably because like 20 plus years have passed between them, but like, but like it felt like a whole new thing too, which is cool.
It was refreshing because like it's like a modern take of. It's like a modern
If you're gonna cough, could you leave the room?
It's like a modern take of a Christopher Guest movie, I feel like, which is really cool. And it was refreshing to see because I feel like I don't know. I don't watch a lot of comedies, so I might be wrong, but I haven't seen a lot of movies like his movies, which is why I do like his movies. So like seeing this in like a modern time is like super great that it still exists, this type of comedy.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm into it.
True comedies.
So you're finding like I'm getting your horror niche and you're getting my comedy niche.
Oh, yeah.
Slowly but surely, and then we'll get Joe's. I don't even know. Spider-Man.
Just all you have to do is love Spider-Man 3
and George the Jungle.
Which Ursula.
Look at that. There's a connection.
That's literally what I thought. Dee mentioned like, oh, like that's Judd Apatow's wife, and I was like, you mean Ursula?
Yeah. I will to transition to kind of movie news, even though this isn't. But it's funny that in Judd Apatow's stand-up a few years ago, that's really good. He mentions like people telling him he should make his movie shorter. But I just thought it was funny and like perfect timing that one of the SNL sketches last night, the like digital short, was about short movies, and it was like Pete Davidson, and then at the end they're like, wait, how long was King of Staten Island, which is a Judd Apatow directed that movie.
I didn't know.
And Pete was like, it's like 2 hours 17 minutes, but we needed the whole thing. I just thought it was like a funny coincidence to happen. Like
that is actually really funny. That's fun. I love that. I mean, continuing news. I mean, I mentioned this to you guys last time, but I don't think I said it on the podcast, but we saw Jackass Forever.
Yes.
It's a funny one. It's just a classic. I felt like I was in high school going to the movies. It was great. I don't know how these people are alive yet, let alone have a whole series and movies franchise about this, because they're insane. I mean, I feel like Jackass, I explained to Jackass to people like it's everything like I feel like we wanted to be, but we never actually were.
Right. Yeah.
So like we always talk about that, like jump off the roof, like hit yourself with a basketball, like all this random stuff. Never actually.
I sent you that video that was like 12 years ago today, and it was like you on the roof, and we were like, just jump off.
Exactly. So it's like we wanted to get there.
Want to be Jackass actors.
Jackass, but It was great.
There's something I was listening to, also like funny because someone I know, their kid who's like, I don't know, 5, 6 or something, like kind of likes Jackass, but like they don't really let him watch Jackass, and they also don't let him say it. So, but like he's always on their Instagram stories doing like, like outside on like a bike or something, being like,
Yeah.
"Hi, I'm," their name, and then
That's funny.
"and welcome to Jackrabbit," and they call it Jackrabbit, and then they just like will like sprint down and roll down a hill or something, like not like really anything that hurts, but like that same idea of like just this little kid loving to do that, being like, "Hey, this is my name and this is Jackrabbit," and then just like running into a bush.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, there's somebody was saying how it's kind of like fail videos, how like people like find these things funny.
I
but
think
they
they're
were like
hilarious.
But they were like, there's an aspect in why we think Jackass is so good, because like they're obviously getting hurt, but they're okay. Like you're not watching them like absolutely, you're not going to watch someone die like on film or something.
Right.
So there's something about in the way they do it where you're like, they're totally committed, like they're totally okay doing it, and they're okay in quotes. This obviously
Right.
is
I mean,
incredible.
the guy in the
if
movie
you saw
lost his
any of
left
these
testicle,
things-
so
Yeah. So is he okay?
he's got one testicle. So I don't know.
I feel like if you were to see a lot of those stunts in real life, it's just like you probably should be concerned first and then
Yeah.
laugh. But it's a lot more fun when you can just laugh.
Well, I was telling like I would hate to work on the crew because in the movie there's random scenes where Johnny Knoxville just comes up and just punches the camera guy in the balls, like just like random. Like I'm like I would hate to work with these guys.
So, like in all their movies where they like come up with like a buzzer and just like buzz with like a ball patch, or like I always think of the one where they did in like they were all staying in the hotel and they like rigged a
Oh yeah,
a giant like boxing glove like behind this wall, and they like taped a poster up that was like from a fan, and it got really small, so they're like they get really close reading it, and they have like Wee Man like he has to get on a chair to read it, and he's on the chair and then just like hits him and he goes flying off. And I was like, this is just them doing it to each other, like most of it. They're just like,
it's so funny. I probably mentioned this to you guys, but there's a scene in the new one which I lost because you guys haven't seen it, right? The new one.
no,
It's streaming on Paramount Plus. So if you have Paramount Plus, you can watch that.
I'll get it.
But anyway,
I do love.
There's a scene where there's one of the guys is like really afraid of snakes, and they're in like a room. There's like 3 or 4. Yeah, Joe, you would hate this actually. But basically they're in the room and like they're showing like there's like a snake guy. He's like, oh look, we have the most venomous snake. It's not, I don't think it's poisonous or anything, but they're like, this is the most it's a huge snake.
Yeah.
The most venomous snake ever we've caught, whatever. And then they turn the lights off and they're running around with tasers, just tasing these people, hitting them with pillows. And like, it's pitch black and the guys are on the couch, like freaking out. And then they knock over the snake thing and the snake's crawling around. And it's like, it's like Saw meets Home Alone. Like
The worst.
Yeah. Like they would just be cowered in the corner and one of them would just come up and just kick them as hard as they can. Like, you can't see anything. It's pitch black. Like, God, I would kill these guys.
They're all so interesting. Like Knoxville, super interesting. Steve-O is incredibly interesting person.
Yeah, he's a
and a guy who like he's actually like pretty smart and his mind works in a really weird
he's all
way.
sober now too, right?
But yeah, he's got a good podcast once in a while.
That's cool.
Listen to some. But he and like Spike Jones started out with those guys. But if you haven't watched the I think it's a Hulu documentary on Brother Magazine, which like Jackass came from Brother Magazine, it's really fascinating because it's like the origin stories of Jackass.
Oh, cool. Yeah, definitely check that out.
yeah, very
Sweet.
cool.
I'm into that. You guys have any other news?
I feel like the one piece of news we kind of have to mention is this is the one. This is the episode we're recording after the Oscars happened. Coda one. There's a lot we can get into about the Oscars, but obviously the thing we have to talk about is Will Smith.
Wait, we didn't even we like recorded last and we didn't even like say, or I didn't even realize until after that the Oscars were that night. Like,
I didn't even watch the Oscars, so I don't know.
I did. I watched.
I didn't either. But then I saw this whole Will Smith thing. I was like, what happened?
That's the last thing I saw. I was actually I was like about to go to bed, and then I saw Chris Rock come on stage, and I go, "Oh, I'll just like stay to watch Chris Rock present whatever." And then that was the last thing I saw.
Wow.
It was really bizarre to watch it live because it was
I
like,
bet.
is it fake? And then they cut the audio, and you're like, wait, what? Like they cut the audio. And then I guess on the West Coast broadcast, they even cut the feed too. Which is bizarre in its own sense, but like,
yeah,
whatever.
there's others. Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy though. Freaking Will, man. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
But that's probably the one thing we just obligatory have to mention that because
Have
there's
to
a
mention
movie
that.
this week.
Yep.
But probably more to get into about the Oscars. I'm sure we'll have to pick some of these movies in the
Yeah,
upcoming weeks.
I will say.
Not King Richards anymore.
No.
That's what you get. That's what you get. This podcast.
Yeah.
It's-
There was an Oscar category for fan favorite this year, which was like a vote by
who
the
won
people.
that?
Horror movie Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder. So that's kind of fun. Release the Snyder cut.
It can when they announced that, James Corden tried to get everyone to vote for Jackass so they could win an Oscar.
I was trying to get Malignant. Everyone's trying to get the new James Wan movie, but I'm glad Army of the Dead was out there. That was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Go horror. Yeah. Woo.
I'm trying to think. Oh, also, I mean, did you see I think it was the editor, best editor.
They
in
didn't televise that one. There were some categories they didn't televise, like makeup, hairstyling, production design, editing.
No, I think they did do editing because I'm almost positive this is the guy who won for editing. Because I also heard before that they
Dune
said they
won
were
it.
going to cut it, and then all of Hollywood was like, editors actually make the movie, so like,
Yeah.
how do we cut that? And I think
Dune
they
won.
did that.
Yeah.
I could be getting the guy wrong, but I'm almost positive he was the editor.
Joe
But
Walker.
he went up, and he was actually really funny because he was like, he made some joke about, I think he's been Oscar nominated before, but he hadn't won.
Mhm.
And he was basically like, I never knew, like, or like, maybe you guys don't know this, but the term Oscar nominated can be used as an insult coming from like a very clever 11-year-old or something.
Yes.
And then told a story about like how he like was trying to tell his daughter something, and they were like, okay, Oscar nominated Peter or something.
That's funny.
It was like so good. And I was like, of course. And it comes from like an editor or something.
Right. That's funny. I love that. Go editing. Woo! Well, that's one of the reasons why I didn't watch it, is because they said they weren't gonna televise that one. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna watch it.
I'm not gonna watch all of it.
I also didn't know any of the movies, and I didn't like Dune that much. It was okay. I don't know.
It was a bad year for
Yeah, wasn't. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I will say that went into the slap too, where everyone, I'm still never convinced, but no, but,
I know.
people were like, there was all this talk of like how no one cares about the Oscars anymore and their viewership drops all the time.
I said it was a
people were
PR
like,
stunt. I was like,
people were like, I have to refuse to believe this wasn't orchestrated by the Oscars to get everyone talking about it because it worked.
I mean, coincidence, dude. I'm telling you. I tell everyone, I was like, it's a PR stunt, but who actually knows? Should we wrap it up?
Yeah. Have you guys seen Search Party?
No.
HBO show, check it out.
It's over.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
It's over. That's the
We
end of
do-
the episode.
We don't
Thank
have
you.
time, but check it out.
All right, that's a wrap.